Chapter 1. He could buy any company in the world, but his own daughter blocked his number on her 10th birthday. The notification glared from the screen of his phone, a sterile, digital tombstone on a decade of fatherhood. Julian Thorne sat back in the cream leather seat of his Gulfstream G650, the muted roar of the engines a familiar lullaby that suddenly felt like an accusation. Below him, the patchwork of the American Midwest was an irrelevant map. The only geography that mattered was the unbridgeable distance between his private jet and his daughter's heart. His first instinct, the one honed in 1,000 boardrooms, was tactical. This was a negotiation. A childish, emotional gambit, but a gambit nonetheless. Lily wanted something. He just had to figure out her price. He messaged his personal concierge. Find the rarest pony in the United States. White, with blue eyes if possible. Have it delivered to Sarah's address by 5 p.m. No excuses. A wave of satisfaction washed over him. Problems were simply transactions waiting to happen. But then his phone buzzed with an incoming call. It was Sarah, his ex-wife. Her voice was stripped of its usual weary tolerance. Did you really think that would work, Julian? He stiffened. I have no idea what you're talking about. The pony. The literal pony you just tried to have delivered to a suburban house with a yard the size of a postage stamp. She saw the truck. She locked herself in her room. The tactical advantage evaporated, replaced by a hot wire of irritation. It's her birthday. I got her a gift. She did not block you because she wants a gift, Sarah's voice cracked with a decade of frustration. She blocked you because you missed her school play yesterday. You were the only parent who was not there. She waited for you. The words hit him like a physical blow. The play. It had been a post-it note on his assistant's monitor, swallowed by a multi-billion-dollar acquisition deal. He was faced with a choice. He could order the pilot to turn the plane around, abandon the deal that would make headlines, and fly home to beg for a forgiveness he was not sure he deserved. Or he could close the deal, secure his legacy, and buy a gift so extravagant, so impossibly grand, that it would eclipse any missed play. He looked at the deal prospectus on the tablet beside him, its cold numbers promising power and control. He chose control. I'll make it up to her, he said, his voice flat. Julian, do not, he ended the call. He had made his choice. Chapter 2. Julian's attempt to make it up to her was a masterclass in emotional deafness. It began with him buying out New York's most iconic toy store for a 2-hour private shopping spree for Lily. He sent a black car to pick her up. She refused to get in. The press, catching wind of the spectacle, ran stories with headlines like "Billionaire Dad's Lonely Party." Humiliation tasted like ash. Next, he made a 7-figure donation to her school to have the new science wing named the Lily Thorne Center for Innovation. He thought the grand gesture would impress her, a permanent monument to his affection. Instead, Sarah called him, her voice trembling with rage. Now she's the rich girl whose dad buys buildings instead of showing up. She was bullied for the first time today, Julian. Congratulations. Each attempt was a step down a spiral staircase into a deeper, more isolated darkness. He was a man who reshaped markets with a single phone call, yet he could not manage a simple conversation with his own child. The pressure mounted, a physical weight in his chest. He started snapping at his staff, his focus shattered. The crowning failure came during a live television interview about his recent acquisition. The host, with a predatory smile, went off script. Mr. Thorne, you can acquire any company, but sources say you may not get a call back from your own daughter. Any comment? Julian froze. The camera's red light was a merciless eye, broadcasting his failure to millions. He mumbled something about privacy and family matters, but the damage was done. That night, sitting alone in his penthouse overlooking a city he felt he owned, he felt a profound, crushing defeat. He scrolled through his phone, stopping on the last photo he had of Lily, a forced smile at a sterile charity gala months ago. He tried calling her again, a desperate, foolish hope. The call did not even go to voicemail. It was just dead air. A new notification popped up on his screen, this one from a news alert. It was a photo of Sarah, Lily, and another man, smiling, holding a small, homemade-looking birthday cake. The man had his arm around Lily, and she was leaning into him, laughing. Julian did not recognize him. He felt the floor drop out from beneath him, leaving him in a freefall of absolute despair. Chapter 3. In a desperate search for a clue, for some forgotten key to his daughter's heart, Julian found himself in a climate-controlled storage unit where the artifacts of his former life were archived. He stumbled upon an old hard drive labeled "Family." Hooking it up to his laptop, he clicked through years of professionally shot, sterile photos until he found a folder of raw video files. One was titled Lily's 5th birthday. The video was shaky, filmed by Sarah. A younger Julian was on the floor of a much smaller apartment, surrounded by a mountain of expensive, brightly colored plastic toys. But little Lily was ignoring them all. In her hands was a simple, generic box of building blocks. "Build the wobbly castle, Daddy," she squealed. In the video, Julian laughed, a genuine, unburdened sound he barely recognized, and together they built a clumsy, asymmetrical tower that collapsed every few minutes, sending them into fits of giggles. That was it. The memory hit him with the force of a physical impact. It was not about price or rarity. It was about a wobbly castle. A flicker of hope ignited in the wreckage of his despair. He knew what to do. He left the storage unit and drove himself, a foreign experience, to the nearest big box toy store. He found the exact set of simple, wooden blocks and bought them, the cheap cardboard box feeling more valuable than anything in his portfolio. This was not a transaction, it was an apology. He drove to Sarah's house, his heart pounding with a mixture of hope and terror. As he walked up the driveway, he saw them through the large living room window. Lily was at the table. And next to her, laughing and showing her how to glue two pieces of wood together, was the man from the photograph. They were not building a wobbly castle. They were building a small, simple birdhouse. And Lily was looking at the men with the same adoration she had once reserved for him. The box of blocks in Julian's hand suddenly felt impossibly heavy, a pathetic symbol of a memory that was no longer his. He had not just been replaced. He had been rendered obsolete. He was standing on the outside, looking in at a life that had rebuilt itself without him. This was his lowest point, a bottom so deep and dark he was not sure there was a way up. Chapter 4. Standing in the cold, Julian watched them for another minute. He saw the easy warmth, the shared smile, the simple presence he had traded for stock prices and market share. The truth landed on him, not as a thought, but as a certainty. He could not win her back by competing. He could not buy what that man was giving her for free. The wobbly castle was not the solution, it was a diagnosis of the disease. He had to stop trying to acquire love and start learning how to earn it. His choice in the jet, to pursue the deal, had been the final, fatal symptom. He walked back to his car, the box of blocks still in his hand. He took out his phone and made a call, not to his broker or his lawyer, but to the CEO of the company he was acquiring. He canceled the deal. He cited personal reasons, knowing the market would punish him for it, that his reputation would take a monumental hit. He did not care. For the first time, he was making a trade where the profit was not measured in dollars. Then, he opened his laptop and began to type. It was not an email or a press release. It was a story. A short, simple story about a foolish king who owned so many castles he forgot how to build one with his daughter. He did not mention names or specifics. He just wrote about his regret. He emailed it to Sarah with the subject line, "For Lily. If she wants it." He did not ask for a reply. He did not ask for forgiveness. The next morning, every financial news outlet was screaming about his canceled deal. His net worth had plummeted by 10% overnight. His board was in chaos. He sat in his silent office, ignoring the storm of calls, feeling a strange sense of peace. Around noon, his phone buzzed. It was a new message from a number that was no longer blocked. It was not words. It was a picture. A single, red, wooden block, placed on a white background. It was not a castle, and it was not a birdhouse. But it was a start. It was the first block of something new. He could lose any company in the world, he realized, but he had just started the one acquisition that could never be liquidated.